Hello and welcome, folks, to another day in the arena. I've got a deck for you. Mostly, this quest kind of lined up with it too. Cast 30 green or blue spells. We might be able to pull that off in one game because I have a vindictive as hell deck. So if you want to make sure your opponent never feels happiness ever again in their lives, this might be a deck for you. So, what's it do? Basically, it's a control deck that controls forever. Guy's Blessing. So, deck is hinged around this. So, effect, target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from the graveyard into the library and draw a card. And when it's put into your graveyard from your library, shuffle your graveyard into your library. So, it's basically if you get milled and you mill this, then you just shuffle everything back in and keep going. So that's the point of the deck, is to have answers forever. Also, this can be used on your opponent as graveyard hate. So natural graveyard hate in main deck if you want to count that. So what are we going to recycle forever? We're going to have 4 Fatal Push to recycle forever. Kill some creatures real quick, deal with some aggro. We got 2 Blink of an Eye, intended to slow down control. This is one of the control cards in the deck, just to keep them casting stuff forever and ever, of course. Just keep them doing their thing. And we've got 3 Chart of Course, so that whatever matchup we're up against, this is kind of the concession to control, where, you know, we run against aggro primarily, then we have Chart of Course to, you know, ditch Fatal Pushes and get lands and so on, like that. 2 Search for Azcanta, which, as you know, lets you mill the top card of your library if you wish. So if you find a Guy's Blessing, you can put it automatically back, everything back into the deck if you need answers. If not, you can just grab the Guy's Blessing and take choice spells and put them back in. Take your pick if you want to flip the Azcanta or whatever. It's one of those questionable scenarios, but it allows you to keep going infinite that way and gives you plenty of selection in that regards. Strategic Planning lets you look at the top 3 cards of your library with one of them into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Well, that counts as milling, so you can look at the top 3. If Guy's Blessing is one of them, everything gets shuffled back in. And just keep getting your answers. Strategic Planning, Guy's Blessing is nuts, by the way. You just keep getting cards, getting cards, getting cards. You keep getting your answers. You cast whatever you need and just keep going. Recycle your answers. Recycle your answers. We got 3 casts down, again for aggro, just to clear the early creatures. We got the 3 Guy's Blessing, so say one of them gets countered, you have 2 of them to recycle. This gives a fair chance that you're going to hit your recycle as well. 3 Guy's Blessing is just in case one of them gets destroyed in some way. That way you still have your recycling plan available. For Supreme Will, I would have liked Disallow, but my lands don't really... My mana base is terrible. As you can see, I've got 24 different types of lands there. Anyways, so this as an impulse or a conditional counterspell, great. These games generally go late, so you're going to use it as impulse plenty of times just to keep getting your answers. There's certain, like, whatever's relevant to the match. So if you need to kill creatures every turn, maybe you just want a Supreme Will to your Fatal Pushes fairly often or something like that at that point in time when your red opponent is on top deck, if they're still in the game by that point in time. We've got 1 Disallow in here because 1 is the best this deck was able to pull with double blue very easily, so you could cast it relatively on time or, you know, have good use of it. We've got 3 Doomfall in here, so we can start exiling our opponent's stuff. Just in case we need to recycle things, well, at least we're going to get exiling going on. Just beleaguer our opponent, exile things, exile, exile, exile. Just get rid of everything, recycle, 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 and maybe Doomfall our opponent 7 or 8 times in a match. That's fun, by the way. We have 1 Lost Legacy. Yeah, after you've got a long game, and you'll want to find out why your opponent is still in that game, playing to their outs, take the outs, win the game. When their outs are gone, they'll concede. So Lost Legacy, very good. As a one-of, you're just like, why is this not just sideboard? Well, when you can recycle, 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 you just start taking their outs away from them. This is a deck intended to beleaguer your opponent, take their options away, and make them feel utterly and horribly depressed. Lost Legacy is a good card to make sure that happens. Take their primary out, and then keep recasting and taking all of their other things over time. We've got 3 Vraska's Contempt. I would like to have more. This is the one card that will forever elude me as a 4th copy. The other priorities came up. But nonetheless, 3 Vraska's Contempt, like it to be 4, exile painful things, get rid of opponents to fairies, get rid of phoenixes, whatever, Chandras. Actually, I lost Legacy to Chandra the other day. Yeah, Vraska's Contempt came very easily at that point. It just, Contempt everything at this point, because you would just keep drawing. Got Yahenni's Expertise for any go wide, or if you're falling behind, it just happens to be here as one of. We've got 1 Primal Amulet. I only have 1, and I'm actually kind of happy with just 1 in the deck. It's like the only weakness of the deck as it stands, really. Well, to a point. We have 3 permanents in the deck. We have 2 Search, 1 Primal Amulet. That's it. So, flipping this into Primal Wellspring to copy spells like Lost Legacy. Fun. Very fun. Or copy your Strategic Planning and constantly recycle your deck every single turn. Just cast Strategic Planning, mill over things, recycle with Gaia's Blessing. Chances are you're going to hit a Gaia's Blessing quite often, and just keep getting your hits. Keep getting your hits, keep getting your hits, keep recasting your hits. Shuffle them back in, have the highest chance of being able to play them. So, you strategic planning, you see a blessing, you grab a Contempt or something like that. You go Contempt, strategic planning, you get a Contempt. It happens quite often. Now we got a Never to Return. This is kind of the 4th Vraska's Contempt as it stands. I would almost like to have 5 Planeswalker Destruction represented. Just, 1 extra. Like, this should be Vraska's Contempt number 5, honestly. Anyways, beyond that, if we want to speed up the victory, we have 4 Ipnu Rivulets. We have some deserts beyond that in a couple of Deadlands, a Desert of the Indomitable. And we've got Field of Ruin for what it matters. Beyond that, I suppose Graveyard Hate is problematic with the deck. Like I said, if you need certain cards exiled from Graveyard and you're having a little trouble with that, I guess Gaia's Blessing's where you really have to sit with it for the time being until you can find your Lost Legacy and get rid of whatever threat that may be. Anyways. Beyond that, the lands are a travesty, and honestly, if you can make a better mana base than me with this deck, go for it. Rares are actually not crazy for this deck, if you're wondering. Like, this deck is not insane on the cost other than the lands. The mana base is where the rares come in and gets a little difficult. So, beyond that, what do we do? How do we win? Mill. Cast Gaia's Blessing. Lost Legacy until your opponent gives up. This is a dirty deck. That's all it is. It's a mean, dirty deck that's intended to make Teferi Control hate themselves. That's what it was intended to do. Outgrind the Teferi deck. Anyways, let's get in some games. Alright, we're on the play. We have some Swamps, Chart of Course, Strategic Planning, and Vraska's Contempt, which seems a little late, but I'm sure that will deal. To be fair, we'll just deal. We'll try to find our tools with the Chart of Course, Strategic Planning, maybe pitch away a couple of these lands that are unnecessary with the Chart of Course. We'll see how this goes. Let's hold up Fatal Push mana and see what our opponent's actually up to. White-blue. Okay, this is going to be a slugfest, folks. It's going to take a while. So, most of the cards are relevant in our hands, so we're going to go with the Strategic Planning in this case. And I suppose we can grab the Doomfall then? Grab the Doomfall. Keep them pressured. So this kind of deck, we wanted Lost Legacy, mostly. We're going to take the worst defenders in their deck. They're going to do nothing. So, 3 mana, it's not what I'm really worried about quite yet. We could Doomfall, but I'm just going to chart a course and keep improving draws for now. And just get the things we need. Okay, that's alright. Let's ditch a Deadlands for now. Keep getting more tools for now. Have the tools to fight our opponent. And they can do a whole lot of nothing for now. I don't care. Okay, so they're full on Esper. And a Champion of Wits. This is our Doomfall turn for sure. So we know what to go up against. So let's see what they do. I don't know if they know what to discard yet. This is problematic. We might have to find a way to deal with that. So, first and foremost, it's in the graveyard, so it's fine for now. Let's Doomfall them. So, Glyph Keeper, I was not expecting that kind of card out of this deck, but, I mean, we'll deal. Okay, so not a lot going on with our opponent at all, actually. Nothing going on. They got some lands, and we'll take the Supreme Will. So it's all lands all the time. And, yeah. Maybe they should have kept their Glyph Keeper in this case. But, I mean, they kept the Essence Scatter, so whatever. It's a dead card in this matchup. We don't even care that it exists. Field of Ruin, they have their own Field of Ruin. That's relevant information that we have to watch out for. So how about we chart a course? We don't need green mana. Barely need green mana, to be fair, at all. There's a card we want. Now, do we name the Glyph Keeper or do we name Teferi? To be fair, I think it's Teferi. They can't counter anything. This cast down seems almost relevant. It'll be relevant. We'll blink of an eye the Glyph Keeper or something like that. Let's name Teferi. And then we'll get a good look at their deck and see what is the critical threat. Because Teferi in this control, certain to happen. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. So that's their hand. There's the 2 Teferis they happen to have. Let's get some insight into the rest of their deck. We've got a bunch of creature removal. We've got Regal Caracal. We've got Karn, multiple Caracals, Angel of Sanctions, Wrath. No, I'd like them to, you know, order them relatively easily. So the problem stuff is basically creatures beyond this and Karn. Okay. So we keep our creature removal then. And anything else? Nope, done. No Teferis for you. And that's the easiest time you will ever have with Teferi. I also want to do a spot check for things like Approach of the Second Sun, which we didn't see anything of there to worry about. So they got a little bit of toolboxy stuff, but it's mostly creature base. Cool. They have nothing they can do. They are just stalling the timer, honestly. Thank you. So let's see what they got now. They got a Field of Ruin. That's fine. And now we're dealing with mystery cards once again. Now we can Field of Ruin them. They can Field of Ruin us. Something like that. Did I see a search of as content? I don't know. No idea. I think I'll just play this and ship the turn back. We want to find an appropriate removal spell or the mana to get everything. I don't know. I want to deal with Glyph Keeper and I want to deal with the Champion of Wits. Vraska's Contempt needs to be fired onto the Champion of Wits if we want to clear that. If they find a Karn, we have to deal with that too. So we'll duress. Interesting. Alright, well, Contempt is coming now. Let's balance the life total a hair. And they can take one of these spot removals. Looks like they're trying to pave the way for the Glyph Keeper. We need to be able to contest that. Okay, they take the blink of an eye, which also deals with Glyph Keeper, to be fair. We could cast down, then bounce it, and it's token at that point, so we draw a card. Interesting. They're going to hit our Field of Ruin? Or our... They're checking the lands. They want to see what's going to happen here, what they want to clear. Because they got nothing going on. They got a mystery card, and that's it. Jam Botanical Sanctum, call it a day. Now, to be fair, we can. If near Deadlands, the Glyph Keeper, if they see that line to tackle the Ifnir Deadlands, it looks like they want to go with that as their only out. If I were to guess, that seems to be the case. All right, let it happen. And we'll just go get an actual black source, so we're still on double black. Cool. And this costs how much to put out for Embalm? I can barely see that number. 7. There's 7. So we're going to be relying on finding an actual removal spell for this in relative time. 3-turn clock to find it. With a mystery card, 2 mystery cards. We do want to clear it. Wow, that was about 5 taps for the auto tap. We're fine with our Field of Ruin being in play for now, but there's a strategic planning. Yeah, let's go with this. We'll go with this. And we find Vraska's Contempt, but we're in a kind of a state where that doesn't help us enough here, because we don't have enough black sources to cover it. So I'm actually going to hit up the Charta course, so that we can find something more reasonable for what we're dealing with right now. I don't need Field of Ruin right now. That's rough. That's real rough, actually. The Disallow would have been great to have, but oh well, there's only so much you can do. Now, in this case, I think I'm going to just ditch the island, and Supreme Will. There's only so many tools they're going to throw at us, and I could care less what they are. I would rather just find the answers right now while I can. And that's the easy answer right there. That's our counter spell. We have actual counter spell. We have Cast Down and Fatal Push. We can deal with this thing now. We can fight it. Actually, what is the abilities on this? We can technically disallow that thing. Okay, so push it. And then cast it down. One less thing. So they have 2 mystery cards. Are they 2 counter spells? We'll find out. Alright, it's out of the way. We're not under the gun anymore. So, we'll call it good. And ship the turn back. Supreme Will is most likely just going to hunt down cards. So, what are our relevant cards in the graveyard? A whole bunch of toys that we want. We're going to want a Gaia's Blessing activation somehow. How are our strategic plannings? Our opponent fires off a Supreme Will, fair enough. So what I want is the strategic planning. 1 planning, 2 plannings. Okay, so there's plenty in the deck. Let them impulse. You got to keep account of your blessings, or a lot of the cards in your graveyard you got to keep account of to make sure that you're still going infinite with the rolls. Our opponent doesn't realize this, but we're just going to hold them out forever if we can. Okay, treasure map. I'm okay with this. I don't care. We just need to get to our tools and start going off at some point. So let's Supreme Will and look for our own cards. And there's a Gaia's Blessing, but that's not exactly where we want to be right now. So we're going to snag... What's in our opponent's graveyard? Nothing special. We're just going to grab the Never for now. Have a fairly unconditional removal. Okay, so we Gaia's Blessing here, obviously, to ourselves. Target that. So what we're after here, strategic planning, so that we can keep cycling. We'll snag Lost Legacy, and more strategic planning, so we can get everything back in the deck. That's the idea, is push everything back into the deck. He's not going to be able to shift that yet, so Field of Ruin can go like that. We get a card draw off of this, so great, cool. This doesn't do much when it's done like this, so no big deal. And we get a Blooming Marsh, so land drop, done. And ship it back. So we're just going to grind out our opponent until they realize that the writing is on the wall. They're not going anywhere. So Never is intended for if they get a lucky Karn or something like that, because that's one of their targets that we have to watch out for. Yes. Disallow. Try to save Disallow. We're going to attempt to counter things like Karn regardless, because we want to push that away from them anyway. And we can fire returns on anything that's not truly relevant. Even our fatal pushes are useful here, but they don't have anything in their graveyard that's really important to us right now. Okay, that's important to kill. And also probably one of the next targets to make sure stays exiled. They might have their Supreme Will as their extra card there. They do not. We're in a spot where we kind of need an engine here. Strategic planning. Thank you. Okay. So we'll grab that land, that land. We find a Supreme Will. Yeah. But I guess we'll take it. Not quite where we want to be in case they find another Caracol. So they do the scry here. We're at a low enough life total that this might go either way. Our opponents diversified their threats, so it's anybody's game on that one. There's a few things we are going after. And Lost Legacy is going to help us get there, but we'll see what happens. They're at 36 cards still. They're barely in there. We're at 27 cards, by the way. Just so you have some insight as to how far this is going. Okay, our opponent is deciding to set up their treasure map, so we have to force our Field of Ruin. Yes. My turn. Alright, Lost Legacy. So Karn, not a problem right now. Regal Caracol certainly is. So, just, it's too much with the amount of cards we have in hand, so let's clear them all away. So they have Essence Scatter, Fatal Push, and Seal Away in hand. They're running pretty dead. There's the library. Anything else that's going to really kill us beyond that? Is it just Karn? It's Karn, Chupacabra, the single Wrath, the Angel of Sanctions. Very slow targets that we don't have to worry about. Champions. but at least the caracal's gone. So that is all 3 targets, or all 2 targets. Yes, done. Clean them. No more of those. So I have no problem doing this on end step when he fires this off. Let's just make sure that we have all the time in the world here on end turn. Okay. Yeah, you get your scry. Alright, now we blow it up. He has all the treasure in the world. That's fine by me, whatever. We'll eventually get our Field of Ruin back, so it doesn't matter. We are not at the point, like, we don't have enough deserts or the comfort to collect deserts at this point in time to use Ifnu Rivulet as we please to mill them out. Angel of Sanctions, also one of those things we might want to pacify at a certain point in time when we get around to that. Before we start the mill plan, attempt to clear something like Angel of Sanctions. Fatal Push can be used on things like Wrath, not a problem. Vraska's Contempt is a good pickup. Leaves us in a better state than our opponent, as all our cards are live and none of theirs are. There's a Field of Ruin. Perfect. And Gaia's Blessing. So we target a Gaia's Blessing no matter what with this. And keep recycling. Until we actually end up with a mill over. So any and all Gaia's Blessings. There's our Gaia's Blessing. Any that I miss? I did not miss any. Beyond that, I think, well, with our opponent with so many dead cards, let's go with a Planning and Lost Legacy. Okay, we get a card out of the deal, so that's great. Let's put them back in. Man! So Angel of Sanctions or Karn. I'm tempted to pick up... well, we can deal with Angel of Sanctions with Vraska's Contempt. We can also deal with Karn, but let's make this easy on ourselves and name Karn. Okay. Our opponent is going to be in Sad Town very soon. We are getting very lucky on those, by the way. So what else is our next threat? Is it just the singular angel? Or anything that's doubled up? Duress could be a thing. Our opponent's running 2 Duress, only 1 left in the deck. And beyond that, search for his Conta would probably be the plan. But that doesn't... that only gets some spells. So, done. Your cards are gone. Have a nice day. Told you, this is a dirty deck. We've cast 3 Lost Legacy and taken out many of our opponent's win cons. They are going to be drawing dead for a very, very long time. As long as we keep taking all of their important things. So since the Duress is a one-of, and all our spells are basically more of the same, I'm not too worried about it. So, anyways, let's go with what this gives us and see if we can get one of those guys' blessings finally milled over and put our deck back together. Finally! Also, search for his Conta. Guys' blessing triggers. Everything goes back in. Have a nice freaking day. And go jam a search for his Conta. Have a nice freaking day. We have no graveyard. We don't care. We just want to be able to mill a Gaia's Blessing at any time. Kind of thing. There's Chupacabra. Not a problem. So that's an aggressive, just, I need a beater. So this is how we cover that. Mill you. Might run into the Angel of Sanctions, to be fair. We all know that's going to happen. It's a reality. Get rid of one of these deserts. And push the Chupacabra. So we get our mill. We get to kill the Chupacabra with a push. Everything's good in the world. And we get another push. Let's bin it for now. Not concerned. Draw. Let's get some toys. Let's get some card draw going, more specifically. Our opponent's planning something, not sure what, but Vraska's Contempt is the pickup of choice. And much better than a push. We can certainly clear an Angel of Sanctions. Not a problem. It's not like we're worrying about Planeswalkers anymore. And the Never Return clears that anyway. Cast Out, annoying. We can't exactly deal with that, but we have Blink of an Eye to deal with it. So it's okay. We have Blink of an Eye, we can kind of work around it. Not a problem. Woodland Cemetery? Sure. Let's have more lands than our opponent. What I need is an Arch of Vraska, or some way to get that going. Or spell doubling. Take your pick. He's got the Arch now. That's annoying. Desert of the Indomitable, we can cycle. Let's see when our opponent finally decides to give up. Okay, plan. Let's see what we can find. Okay, so this one is targeting, I guess, Angel of Sanctions. I guess. Angel of Sanctions. We'll just keep taking everything they love from them. Now we see their hand. Essence Scatter, Seal Away, Fatal Push. They're all bricked in hand. There's the Angel of Sanctions. So they have Wrath. They have Chupacabra. And Champion of Wits. And then they're dead. Done. I'd also like to note one important thing. Wrath, Chupacabra, Champion of Wits. We have this game. They can draw all the cards they want with Arch. They can disrupt us all they want with Field of Ruin. And their counterspells are very conditional for us. So, we're okay. We have all the time in the world. He finds the Champion of Wits. Like he meant it. Yep, mill yourself down to 16. Ditches some garbage cards. Gets a land, sure. We'll just take the land and... I mean, we could do a full-on Never to Return, but I think just a Vraska's Contempt is acceptable for now. They may have a Wrath. They can't kill us with it, so who cares? So there's one of the threats. Goodbye. Let's gain some life in the process. What's in your, what's on your mind there, buddy? He's got a plan. He's got these treasures. Let's keep that in mind for when we're tapping down mana. He's gonna go for something big. He's at 16 freaking cards. Go for it, buddy. Go for it. So Never is our key card here, although he may have found the Wrath, so we have to be slightly cautious. He did not cast a Wrath there. But he did, that's why he sacrificed the treasures so he could revolt the push. Honestly, we could care less. Our opponent has not realized they are super dead. Sure. Draw cards. The Supreme Wills are important to them. Sure. We can play around that all day. We have enough mana to play around Supreme Will. We have a little trouble with double Supreme Will. But hey, whatever. We'll deal. So unfortunately, we couldn't really do everything. I suppose if I had led on something like Never to Return, it would have been okay. Goes with Chupacabra. There. Our opponent is at 11 cards. They did not draw off the Champion of Wits. There's a Primal Amulet, but I don't think we have time for that as we stand right now. So let's deal with you. Sadly, we don't have more deserts as it stands right now. That's life. Anyways, we're going to hit return. And I don't know. Maybe they cleared the rest of their removal. Did they clear the rest of their removal? They have Essence Scatter. That's no big deal then. We're just going to clear away. They got nothing for us, so who cares, right? We'll just steal the Supreme Will. Who cares? I'm overthinking it, honestly. Okay, so that leaves just enough mana for Supreme Will. In case they wanted to do 2 Supreme Will, so be it. But this leaves us in a situation where they either found creature removal for the zombie, congratulations, or, yeah, we're fine. I think we're fine. Unless we brick seriously hard that this Chupacabra can catch up to us, I think we're okay. There's Wrath. That's what I was concerned about. That will put us down to 2 if we're not careful. But Vraska's Contempt and their conditional counter spells will make sure that we stay in the game just a hair longer. There's Supreme Will, hunting for a card, but they have nothing to hunt for other than maybe a Duress, which actually is a problem. And now that I think about it, maybe they'll find a creature kill instead. But that Duress does exist in the 10 cards. Might be a bad time that they catch us. Who knows? Coming down to the wire. 9 cards. It's kind of a critical turn. Okay, so they found a Fatal Push. Fine. Did they find the Duress as well? Appears not. There's a Disallow. That's pretty freaking good. So, how can we set up everything here? We can set down the Amulet. We can set up a Disallow for something. These are the rest of their threats regardless. So 1 black. We don't need black. We don't need green. We do need double blue, and we'll leave these alone as long as possible. We have black there. We have triple black, which is relevant. We have triple blue. That one's fine. Okay. So, Amulet. Now, ideally, we're just going to Contempt Wrath. So, 1 Supreme Will in the graveyard. Multiples may exist. Let's see what happens. They have too much mana that we need to, well, we just need to play around stuff. So we'll do what we can. We'll try to get Wrath. If they have literal everything from everything, then congratulations, they pulled it off. So we're just going to hang in there. Hang in there, baby. They may not fight us here, so let's do this and try to get the Rivulet play. So be it if not. We're holding up 3 obvious mana, so seal away. Sure. Now what? No, it doesn't target your own creatures. That's fine. We don't need the amulet that badly, but cast out is still opponent controls. So sure, whatever. We're still fine. We're still fine, folks. Cycles, that's what we want to see. Puts them to 7. I would love to have this rivulet actually help us out a little bit here. Okay, Vraska's Contempt goes off. Everything's in the clear. Alright. End of turn. I'm going to have to fire this off, folks. Let's see if we can get there. We are down to the wire, honestly, right now. There's the dress. That's good. And Yahenni's expertise is great. That is freaking great. That's all we need. Okay, his threats are gone. We're done. That's it. He's out. He's gone. He's done completely out of it. Resolve. Nothing left. He's all out. He doesn't know it yet, but he's done. We've seen his deck. That is the last threat. Unless I horribly mistook something. Disallow, apparently, thank you. It costed 0 for a little bit longer than it should. Yep, go ahead. You got nothing left. You're done. There we go. That's how you deal with control, folks. That is how you deal with control. You just grind them out even harder than they can grind you out. What a nail biter, folks. What a nail biter. Man, I'd love to know how long that particular match was, but I mentioned it's one of those decks that's going to make your opponent feel sad. That's certainly what it does. Now, when it comes to sideboarding plan with that kind of thing, that kind of deck is running a fairly critical mass of creature removal. The only thing that would be relevant in that particular matchup, like we could sideboard in the what are they? Carnage Tyrants. If we were to try and get to a Lost Legacy situation, or we'd be siding in Duresses as well, that kind of thing, and we get to one of those situations where we clear their Teferi with Lost Legacy, so we're playing on proper grounds. We'd probably duress away, sell the wreckage, and beat the living tar out of them at that point in time. The creature removal is still relevant in that match, but probably less so on the pushes. Something like that. I don't know. But yeah. That is, well, as I called it, infinite hell for a freaking reason. And as you saw, Lost Legacy just stripped a control deck of anything that mattered. That said, they weren't running actual disallows, which if I saw a disallow in their roster at all, like if I saw a disallow, that would have been a target to go for. As an unconditional counterspell, I would have wanted to take that out. So anyways, we got to play a few things over and over and over again. Probably saw 5 copies of a few things. You didn't get to see the deck recycle as much. I am going to play more matches, show you some more videos over time. But for now, that's it. We're going to show you crazy long matches, since they're 1 matches at a time, super long matches. That's why I'm going to do some more for you. And you get to see how it fares against other things. It does its job versus aggro too. So you'll get to see those matches as well. Anyways, thanks for watching. Take care, and bye-bye.